This is NewHampshireCrossCountry.com, powered by Runner's Alley. Our meet today is brought to you by Demerit Hill Farms, which is exactly where we are, Oyster River's home course here in Lee, New Hampshire. On the line, we have Oyster River versus Winnacunnet for this boys race. Looks like they're getting some instructions now. On the boys side of things, for Oyster River, we have Rowan Brown, Owen Fleischer, Theo Fleischer, John Henry Gorski, Henry Hangen, Dylan Labonte, Andy O'Brien. For Winnacunnet, Wave 1 has Ben Behrman, Henry Bybee, Cole Cooper, Jackson Crane, Ben Merrick, Jasper Pimentel, and Peyton Saltmarsh. Again, we do have our wave start as we've seen all season thus far. Boys have 4 different waves going today. Looks like we just had Coach Scott McGrath from Oyster River step out of the way, so we should see a start any second now. And they're off. 2020 Oyster River versus Winnacunnet here at Demerit Hill Farms for Oyster River's senior meet. Seniors' last race on this home course. Of course, the last few years they've seen a couple different variations of a course as Wave 2 is off. Wave 1, it does look like an early lead from Fleischer for Oyster River. At this point though, very close up front between all runners for both teams. As we now can see, wave number 2 looks like Oyster River has opted to send a couple guys out very wide. Winnacunnet sticking together as a pack right there as they all battle up this hill. Just heard the gun for wave 4, but right now we can see wave 3 coming at us. Again, about 15 seconds in between waves. So the clock you see, just subtract 15 throughout the entire race. Wave 3 looks like we've got a cluster of Oyster River towards the front with one Winnacunnet runner as well. And then as we look towards our wave number 4, it looks to be almost all Winnacunnet runners coming up this hill now. A pretty big team for Winnacunnet this year, at least compared to Oyster River in this dual meet. And with all the waves beyond us, we'll check it out at the one. Here comes our first runner. It does look like this is probably Owen Fleischer, Oyster River, coming into this 1 mile mark. He is followed by, I believe that's his teammate Dylan, as well as Winnacunnet's first, and this is a pack coming at us now. So Winnacunnet's first is Henry, and then we've got a whole slew of them, too hard to name right now, but team-wise it does look like it's very competitive, still early on. Winnacunnet with maybe a slight lead, but everyone in that pack is still in this and can still do that scoring. So at the 1 mile, nothing is determined yet. One thing to point out, I don't believe we saw Andy O'Brien at that start. That could play a factor in. Curious what's happening with him as we see what appears to be wave 2 coming at us now. I believe that's Clayton Rogers as well as Cam Goodine. These boys a lot more grouped than what we saw from the girls' race. Looks like for the most part they are grouped around their wave. As Zach passes us, as well as Jacob and Fikru. Apologies on pronunciation. And then if I had to guess, I would say we might start seeing some of these runners be wave 3. Again, that grouping here at the mile mark. Not a lot of separation between waves just yet, as we have William and Calvin battling it out up front for this wave, followed by Micah, as well as Olaf. Nathan passed us. Dean passed us. Finn passed us. Group of 4 warriors coming by. Again, they might be watching each other, pacing themselves off of that. And then a little bit more separation before we start seeing some Wave 4 runners. This is Gavin Westfall. And behind him looks like a slew of runners, so again, this might be our Wave 4 representation. You take that time on the clock and you're gonna subtract 15 seconds for each wave. And ultimately, it means if everyone started at the same point, this would be a pretty clustered race. Good day to have that wave start. Garrett passing us now. Again, at that 1 mile, and we're gonna go ahead, head over to the 2 mile once we get a little bit of a view here on Eric for Winnacunnet. That way we can get to the 2 mile in time for our leaders, as he's powering up this hill. Another couple runners for Oyster River. Finish things off at our 1 mile mark. And it looks like we have Owen Fleischer in view now for Oyster River. They're first. Again, we are at this 2 mile mark. He is followed by teammate Dylan, as well as Winnacunnet's, nope, that's a different wave. So right now we've got Owen, then Dylan. Again, top 2 for Oyster River. And Oyster River's 3rd coming in now. I believe that's Henry, number 50 on his chest. Winnacunnet's 1st. Behind him, I believe that's Henry, that we can see kind of through the runners here. And then we should start seeing a pack of Wave 1 coming into view. Again, team-wise, pretty close at the 2 mile. Mile left. Still plenty of time for either team to make some moves with this. Right now, though, Oyster River does have the lowest spots. Winnacunnet with a cluster after that, though. And this will come down to that last mile in the woods. You can see these two battling. Have to see how close they finish at the finish. And we're starting to see some Wave 2 runners as well get themselves into the mix. Again, Wave 1, not a ton of separation. We saw the lead for Oyster River with their top 2, and then Winnacunnet was following. Good pack of Winnacunnet still running together. And this stretch has been nothing but Winnacunnet. Again, showing their depth as well as their ability to work as a team. O'Connor coming to us now. As well as his teammate, Zach. And we're at that point now, we're starting to see wave 3. We got to make our way to the finish line and make sure we get those leaders. And here comes Owen Fleischer. Oyster River's number 1.
Yeah, I think they took, that was the kids that
He's barreling down the hill here. Again, Owen finishing up now. Now on the stretch, we do see his teammate. This is Dylan. Oyster River's second runner. Dylan crossing the line now. Third for Oyster River. I believe this is Henry Hagen. And again, a lot of separation in between some of these boys up front. The next runner not even in sight yet. Winnacunnet with a pair, followed by an Oyster River runner. So that's Peyton Saltmarsh, as well as Ben Merrick. Another Oyster River coming into view beyond them. So I believe that should make it Oyster River's race. Numbers should be pretty competitive though, as John Henry finishes for Oyster River. Next coming down the line is Theo Fleischer. As well as Winnacunnet, Ben Berman. Ethan for wave 2. So we got some wave 2 runners in the mix now. Be on the lookout for them as we get another pair of Winnacunnet. One of them wave 1, one wave 2. Another wave 1 runner for Oyster River, as well as a wave 2 of Michael crossing now. Tam coming down, putting in a pretty good finish here all the way to the line. And he put a bit of a gap on the next runner, who we do see is Winnacunnet. And I believe that is Jasper for Winnacunnet. Behind Jasper is another pair of Winnacunnet, and a fourth coming on this finishing stretch as well. Ken and Jacob finishing pretty close together. Breathing hard, showing the effort that they've been putting in. Looks like we have John Savage, and he's coming through that line. Again, this last little bit is a nice downhill for these runners. The whole course up and down, pretty grueling. Weather today, it was raining, stopped raining just for these races, and just for O'Connor to be finishing up here. He's gonna finish over O'Keefe. Zach for Winnacunnet. Cole for Winnacunnet. William of Oyster River, he's a wave 3 runner, so we've seen quite the mix in the last couple of minutes, 1, 2, and 3. Not sure if I've seen any wave 4 just yet. As William finishes. This is Nathan coming down finish line here at Demerit Hill Farms. Got his teammate coming into view now, that is Calvin Duffy. Again, with our wave differential, wave 1 has the clock right now. For wave 2, you subtract 15 seconds, wave 3 another 15, and wave 4 another 15 to get those accurate times. Lancer Timing is here today, making sure they get that finish order nice and squared away. Good to see them back out after an odd spring without them. Dean Marks crossing now. Max leading the charge. And this looks like we got a pretty close battle. And I believe we've now seen some wave 4 runners as well. So we've got all 4 waves accounted for at this point, with Sam Robbie crossing that line. Jackson coming down the hill. Oyster River with another runner coming into view now. I believe that is Kai Sowers, followed by a Winnacunnet Warrior behind him. Couple drops starting to fall again. Theodore crossing the line now, as well as Murphy Wall. Winnacunnet, another runner on the stretch, that is Julian. And follow him to the finish line. As we see, we do have his teammate up on the hill coming down now. For Winnacunnet, that is Garrett. Saw Coach Ozzy coming from behind the trees. Winnacunnet with another pair. That would be Gavin as well as James behind him. Good kick coming from James, making a race between James and Gavin. Does look like James takes the lead over his teammate, and he will cross in front of him. Good little battle all the way. And we've got a battle between Winnacunnet and Oyster River. This would be Eric of Winnacunnet. And it looks like that might be Frank of Oyster River. Hard to tell. Does look like Eric is going to take this one. Looked a little bit closer up at the top of the hill, but the kick coming down proved to be effective. And here's another Oyster River runner. This would be Liam Meredith.
Then I left. And then what happened after that, I have no idea.
He's got a good looking finish. And here we go, Oyster River. This is Fabian Fab of Oyster River. Running down this hill. You can hear Coach McGrath in the background saying this is faster than last week. Always great to get a PR. And it shows that these kids are improving as Fab crosses the line. Once again, this has been NewHampshireCrossCountry.com, powered by Runners Alley. This meet brought to you by Demerit Hill Farms, where we see ourselves right now. This has been the boys' race.